So in this episode, it starts with, we get the opening scene of Mykelti and Tony's house. We get to see the twins again and little Avalon. She's very cute, but definitely not adjusting well to the new babies. I think that much we can tell. Yeah, and not just Christine, but David is coming over to babysit. Oh, I was going to say the funny line from David I loved was when he said on camera, look, they actually clean their house. Like, that house must be a disaster zone with those 3 kids and Mykelti and Tony. And Christine is just, like, shocked that he even said that on camera. Which, this is the interesting thing about David, since he's so new to the family, is he's more apt to just blurt and say stuff out. Especially with, like, learning, like, being on TV and all of that stuff. So I find it interesting what things he's going to get away with just saying on camera. It's going to be amazing. Definitely need to get contacts. I know I said that in the last video. Still haven't gotten them. Yeah, so after we finish at Tony and Mykelti's house, we go over to Meri, Jen, and Blair over at the B&B. Meri makes me so uncomfortable with how she laughs at everything. Like, Blair is acting more serious than she is when it's coming to talking about, like, the divorce or dating or how she's doing or, wow, Kody really said that. Like, he's more sincere and authentic than Meri even is when this thing happened to her. Like, for your first reaction to be to laugh, I just think, are these really Meri's friends? Like, are you really close with these people? How come you can't be vulnerable and show true emotion to these people that you say are your friends? I don't know. I know Jen's supposed to be your BFF and all that, but it's also like Jen works for her, and then Blair works for her. So it's like, why are all Meri's friends people who have worked for her? And she makes all these jokes that aren't funny, and then she talks about this part about painting carpets. Now, I knew the tile was a thing. Like, you can even have stencils, and you can make it look like a repetitive design or whatever. And I even know they have stencils for your patio where you can use, like, a pressure washer and you clean using the stencil, and it kind of leaves this design behind for a while that looks really cool. But painting carpet, I don't know. You guys tell me. Oh my gosh, powder all over the place. You tell me if this is a thing. Have you seen someone do this? I never have. So I'm going to look it up. If I can find a video of it, I will put a clip in this video so we can see what that is. But I think it's so weird because, like, there's all kinds of different carpets. Like, there's the longer, like, shaggy kind of carpet. And then there's, like, the office stuff that's, like, the thinnest carpet possible. And I've never seen carpet painted in my life. So that was funny to me. I thought, hey, let's find out about that. But then all this post-divorce stuff going on is, like, she still always has to have the last word. She still always is like, somehow she got him. Somehow she... like getting the last word or doing the last power play or whatever. Like, these two never authentically talk. And you just, and it's becoming more and more a pattern for me to see that it's not just with her family members and it's not just with Kody, but it's like anybody that comes in contact with her. Like, this makes me wonder about the deterioration of the relationship with Leon. Is this what Leon got tired of? Saw a lack of, like, a real relationship there? Is that why these two aren't talking anymore? Is that why Leon doesn't have really anything to do with Meri at this point? All right, and then we go back to Christine and David. They're just babysitting, but we get this moment where Christine really wants to reflect on, like, raising all the kids. I think what they're trying to say, or what she's saying, and I even think Kody too, where they're like, we are happy being grandparents. Like, raising all these kids was so hard, and we just like where we can come, babysit, hang out, have fun, and then kind of recoup, go home, have our own life. And I don't doubt Christine for this at all, because it looks like a lot of work raising all those kids. Because at this point, it's like Christine's talking about how hard it was to, like, raise all these kids, because basically she was the stay-at-home mom, you know? And she had to take care of everybody. What I think is wild is, like, she had to take all these kids, and then there were, her and Janelle basically had a baby about this 4 days apart. So she had to take, Janelle went back to work, but she had to take care of all of the kids. And then Meri pops in with her confessional, like, how hard it was for her to get time off of work, and she knew that she needed to help. But I just was like, Meri, why? No one mentioned her. Like, that's what I think is interesting. No one mentioned her, and she goes off on this thing about getting time off work, and I feel like this is part of her storyline from the beginning. She tries to inflate, like, her role or how much she was a part of what was going on. It's weird. It's a weird part where she just has to put in, oh, I helped and did things too. I think we can all agree no one did more than Christine in raising all of these kids. So no one's really going to get the credit apart from Christine. I even like in this part that Janelle's like, yeah, I worked. Like, she's not trying to say that I pitched in and did all this stuff either. And I don't think Meri really did that much, to be honest. So I think it's like a really weird place for her, that confessional, to be in this part. It's just kind of strange. I mean, the more that Christine talks about David, it's kind of like too much. It's like, we get it, you're happy, it's fine. So some of those parts I just kind of skipped over. What I hate about the show sometimes is, like, they'll show us a part of a journey or they'll just show us the result, but they don't use it to, like, build momentum of, like, fleshing out a story. Like, I think it would have been more rewarding to show 2 of the houses they didn't choose and show this house, and then show they chose that house. Like, build the story for us so we have some emotional buying. But instead what they did is showed us 3 houses the last episode that they didn't choose. And then all of a sudden they chose this house, which we've never seen, which is a nice enough house, but there's, like, no buy-in for me as an audience member to be like, wow, this is amazing, or whatever. It's just like, it's a house, and now they're moving shit in, and it's their house. Like, for as much as they were trying to be like the HGTV show House Hunters, and we know how much House Hunters is kind of fake, that they could have even at least used that template. Because even in the House Hunters episodes, there's only a few where they don't choose any of them. But most of them, it's like a happy ending. This is the one they chose. So why couldn't Sister Wives do that too? They're babysitting the twins, and they have the cutest little elephant onesies that are matching that I love. So I just love these. They were so cute. And I think Christine really missed what Ysabel was saying in this, because it wasn't just that Isabel's like, I don't want, okay, that was hard to open. It wasn't just about, like, her being with David and all that, and her being concerned about how fast it is, when honestly, I think this girl is dropping some very good wisdom about this. That, like, you haven't been together long enough to go through any kind of struggle to know that, like, how this other person reacts or how you'll handle those things together. Like, you don't know any of that yet. And I mean, I'm not one to really talk because I got engaged and married quite quickly. So I just feel like I don't want to harp on that too much. But I feel like when you have grown children and a child still at home, like, this is something maybe you should pay attention to. But also what Ysabel said that I think Christine just either didn't hear or doesn't want to hear is that she is really, really concerned about David being pushed on her as a father. Like, she knows stuff isn't good with her dad. She knows her dad didn't show up to her surgery. She knows that her dad doesn't love her mom. She knows all this stuff. But she still wants this relationship with her bio dad. And I think it's not just that. I think she's trying to say, I don't want David pushed on me. Like, this, you've known him for a couple months. This is way too fast. I don't want him to be my new dad. I don't want him pushed on me. But in the same thing she's saying this to Christine, Christine says back to her that, yeah, David's here. He'll be like a good stepdad, or if you need a father figure. And it's like, this is exactly what Ysabel's saying. That she doesn't want David or you or anybody else to push David on her as a father figure. She wants her own dad. And she even nails it down further when she says that she sees how sweet David is with his kids and how they just have this really good relationship, and it makes her even more sad. And I just feel so bad for this woman. Like, it just makes her so, so sad because she's seeing what she wants with her own dad. And there really is no substitute for another person in that place. It's like, they'll never be who I wanted that one person to be. So even though, you know, Kody isn't having the best relationship with his kids and has really missed the mark, especially with Ysabel, it doesn't mean that she just wants some other man to step in those shoes. And I think she was trying to make that as clear as possible as she could to Christine, who totally, absolutely 100% missed what she was saying, because her immediate response is like, was saying the exact thing that she didn't want to hear her mom say. She didn't want David pushed upon her. And it just makes me feel so, so sad in this situation. Like, that Christine isn't hearing her kids, and especially such a sweet kid like Ysabel. Like, she's trying her best to voice her opinion, but she's also just doesn't want to ruffle feathers or anything. And I just think this is so sad. And maybe when Christine, she sees it in the show or watches it, she might be able to see it in that different light. But as it is in the show, she's not seeing that at all. She's just like putting everything back on herself about how happy she is and how nervous she is about moving in with him and going from a polygamy situation to monogamous and all her worries and concerns. But I don't feel like she really addressed or eased any of Ysabel's concerns in this conversation. And then we go back to Meri, and this is the first time that we are seeing her over at Kody and Robyn's house. And I think this episode shows so much how you can't really trust what Meri says. Like, she does one thing and another. So when she's talking with her friends about the painting and everything, she's telling them, no, I'm not going to tell Kody. More of like, I'm an independent woman. What do I care what he thinks? And literally, the next freaking episode we see, or part of this episode we see, is Robyn going over to, or Meri going over to Robyn and Kody's house. Yeah, let's do this one. I still like this Blend Bunny one. And I am very excited. There's a new Blend Bunny eyeshadow palette coming out. That's a collab with a makeup artist on YouTube, which I'm so excited about that. So when I get that one, I want to use that one in a video, just to let you all know. But I just find like Meri told her friends one thing and then went and did the exact opposite. Yeah, so the first thing she's doing is goes over to tell them that she's moving, after she just told her friends that's not what she was going to do. So I just was like, how many times has Meri done this in her life? Like, especially with her sister wives. Like, is this I just made me wonder, this must be the problem that they have with her, is that she does stuff like this a lot. She wants to sound like she's this more overly confident, whatever. She doesn't need their opinion, whatever, or advice. But the moment she can run to Kody, that's what she does. Or to Robyn. Like, how frustrating is that you would have someone doing that all the time? Like, for me, that would make me feel like I couldn't trust them. And I bet that's exactly what it was like for Christine and Janelle dealing with that for all those years. And I think Robyn, to a point, like, she doesn't necessarily say it that way in this episode, but I feel like something happened. And maybe Meri tried to play a power play with Kody, and it didn't work because Meri didn't realize quite where she had fallen as far as those power plays still working. Like, that could just be my conspiracy brain thinking, but I just kind of thought, I wonder if something like this happened that is kind of the root of the downfall of Meri and this family, of like Kody listening to her and stuff, that like it was all fine and good when she was playing those games against Christine and Janelle, but once she started doing that with Robyn, that's when Kody was done. And then it just she was never able to like get that power back. But yeah, so she goes to tell them that she's moving, but she doesn't say that. They do this cryptic M word thing, and Robyn has to have her little girl go out of the room so they can talk about this. And then they act like it's a surprise, but it's like Kody was already over there helping her get rid of the furniture she was giving to her sister. Like, he already knew this was happening. And it's weird to me that they would sit here and be like so shocked because of the time frame. Like, oh, you're doing this already? Like, so shocking. Like, oh wait, there's cameras here. Yeah, totally shocking. Wow, didn't you say June or something and you're moving out sooner? Oh my gosh. Can't believe it. It's the end of an era. Like, the games these people play is incredible to me. I don't have the time, the strength, the will, any of that stuff to play games like this with people. None at all. So it just struck me really weird, this whole like dynamic that's going on, but also that the little girl had to go out of the room. Like, obviously all the kids know too. Why wouldn't they know? And then to me, this showed like a lack of just what I would consider normal parenting. As if like a big change is happening, it's something that you want to prep your kids for over time. You know, to have them like be adjusted and used to it, especially if it's Kody and Meri, where they take forever to do anything. Like, they had months and months and months to prep these kids, so it was not as huge of an adjustment for them. But you can tell in this moment that this didn't happen at all, and then they just decided to make Meri the bad person because neither of them wanted to be the bad person to tell their kids about this major change. And I was just very annoyed with this. I mean, like I said, I don't have kids, but at the same time, isn't that something you would do? Wouldn't you, like, prep your kids? Wouldn't you tell them, like, something like this is, like, a dramatic thing like this? You wouldn't just leave it to, like, blow up in, like, 1 second like this? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Like I said, don't have kids, so I'm not sure, but I just feel like you would want to prep them so it's not as big of a thing. And for me personally, it's like I wouldn't want to sit there and, like, watch my kids cry and be really upset about something and, like, put that on that person to be the bad person. So it's a weird thing, I think, to be like, we don't want to be the bad people, which that's how it came across to me. I mean, I don't know if you all feel the same way. Do you feel like they were trying to make Meri the bad person here? Do you feel like I'm wrong, like they did prepare the kids for this? I just felt this was really weird. I mean, because I watched the show, it's not surprising. I'll say that much. Because it is Kody and Robyn. And not even Kody, it's Robyn. Like, she babies all of those kids so much that to the point where they're lacking, like, any preparedness for difficulties, I feel like. Like, no matter who we are, we're going to experience difficult, rough things in life. But when you're a kid, it's like your parents are supposed to help you learn and kind of soften those blows. But it's like something you need to know, like how to survive. So I just thought it was really strange in this moment that it just tells a lot on the relationship that Robyn has with her kids and how much she tries to isolate them. You don't even want them to have these tools in life because you're not always going to be there. But anyways, yeah. I mean, gosh, sometimes Kody and Meri are the same person in these situations because none of them wants to take responsibility. They want to have the power in a situation. It's just, like, sad that these kids pay the price for these people playing games all the time. That's just so sad to me watching this. But yeah, no, it's like, gosh, Kody and Meri are the same person. They tell their friends and other people they deal with, like, what hard asses they are, of how they're in control and they're doing all this stuff. But when it comes down to it, it's not true. When it comes down to it, that's not the way that it is. Oh my gosh, I need to get better at this. But talking and doing makeup at the same time is a little bit harder than I thought it would be. You know what? I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it. I do think, though, I kind of do like how that is turning out. But it's getting... What annoys me with my eyes is that it's this one kind of droops down a little bit than this one, so it's really hard to make it look even on both sides. Yeah, say this is the second confessional I see where it's Robyn's in this part of this confessional, and I don't understand why necessarily, because what she says doesn't really have anything to do with what's going on. Relationships with your sister wives were bad, like she felt attacked, and all of a sudden she went into victim mode. Like, it no longer was about this sad thing of Kody and Meri being divorced or other things in the family. It was like how it impacted her and how it made things hard for her. But I just felt like it had no place in this episode. Like, what are you talking about, Robyn? Like, no one's... like, this opportunity was for you just to comment what happened, not for you to interject how much you're this pathetic victim that... or victim that you tried so hard and nobody treated you right and it was hard for you. The other thing she talks about is, like, realizing it must have been really hard for Meri to never know Kody was going to be there or show up and how difficult it was. But she was the one for all these years saying, oh, like, he wants to be with you, it's going to work out and everything. And then you get this dynamic between Kody and Robyn where Kody just blames Robyn for pushing him into stringing her along. So it's like, more and more, as Robyn speaks and comes out, you realize more she knew exactly what was going on, and she's completely complicit and okay with just pulling Meri along. My thoughts is to, get the money out of Meri, to whatever thing they could get her to do. And the money, of course, is what they were doing. When we look at what Jen had said to Meri in those, like, look back, talk back things, where she's trying to point out to Meri, oh, that's a selfish thing that Robyn did. I'm hoping at this point in time that Meri's realizing, like, Robyn was never her friend. Like, to say this about someone and then reflect that you've known that's going on for a while, I just speaks to how much this person was never even your friend to begin with. I don't know. I don't know why this confessional belonged here. I don't know if the producers felt like they had a "I got you" moment or something and just left it in. Like, are they working extra hard on this villain arc because of the ratings being so high? It's just like the more stuff Robyn says, the more she's not like likable. The more she's not likable in this situation is what I think. Kody kind of flipped back and forth as his emotions and all of this of how he wants us to perceive him. So part of it is like, oh, this is an error, it's so sad, but oh, then he says in confessionals, my first thought was, Meri's just gonna, this is good for her, she's gonna be so happy. So he's saying two very exact opposite things here. And I guess wanting us to believe both things that he's saying. Yeah, I don't know. These people and their emotions, it doesn't really make sense with what they're saying or what they're saying directly to one another's faces. So I just thought this whole bit was weird. I thought people were interjecting confessionals that didn't really belong. But I will say the cherry on top, all of this, because we see so much of this stuff on the show where it's just like a little fake, a little weird. Ooh, I don't know if this color goes now. We're not going to do that. I had this idea for this red. Should we just ruin it and do it? But the part I thought was the cherry on top, like the best part of this whole thing was that truly bit David. He had his hand behind Christine and she just bit his hand. It was great. I mean, I guess a part I didn't really talk about in all this is that Christine and David got engaged. They're very excited. You got to see the whole thing play out and put them the ring on the finger and all that stuff. To me, this isn't that exciting because we already saw them get married. So I kind of just blew through that. But I want to screenshot, put this right in so you can see this over and over, that truly bit his hand. Like, this girl is finding a way to protest this. Like, she's used whatever word she can and she know no one's listening. So she's just using physical force. I think in other episodes we saw her like physically pushing their hands apart. But now she's at the point where she's like full on biting him. Classic, truly. I can just see in David, like, she has all these kids and he's like just coming into the situation like he doesn't really have anything he can do about it, you know? All right, what do I think? Ooh, I kind of like it. It's very, very pink, which is what I wanted to kind of match my fun little shirt I have going on here. But my final thoughts on this episode is that there's a lot of adults here who don't match their emotions to their words, don't handle things in a good way. But there are people like trying to make a new life for themselves and everything, so that's good. And I did enjoy seeing the twins, and I'm glad that Ysabel is saying how she feels, even though it makes her uncomfortable and she doesn't want to. And then I just love that truly bit David in the end. That was just a nice little cherry on top to the sundae of the whole episode. But that's my thoughts on the whole episode. I did enjoy it. I will look forward to next week's episode and see what happens there. But yeah, so let me know what you think about the look. If you like it, I think I like it this time better than last time. I'm liking the pinky pink. Maybe I could have gone more in the blush here. I don't know. But I will go ahead and list everything in the description box below of all the makeup I used on my face. Thank you so much for watching this video and have a great rest of your day. Bye.